Hi, everybody. I hope that Santa brought you everything that you deserved. Okay. Now you can take that one of two ways that you deserved. Could be coal. Could be coal. Welcome to Dodgers territory. We're so happy that you're here. I am Alanna Rizzo. That is my guy, Clint Pasillas, talking all things Dodgers as we wrap the 2024 season, and we look forward to when we're going to be able to be at Camelback Ranch in Glendale, Arizona for the 2025 season. I have to tell you, it's 9 degrees here, so I can't wait until spring training.
Spring training will be in the best shape of our lives. That's a lie for me. I can already promise you that. That's a lie. But hope will spring eternal. The Dodgers will be, once again, most likely favorites to win a World Series, become the first team to go back-to-back since the Yankees of 99 and 2000. But today's show, guys, a little bit different. Obviously, it's the day after Christmas, so we're not here actually live to pull the curtain back a little bit, but we did have something we wanted to talk about that hopefully is fun for you and the family. We have our top Andrew Friedman era transactions trades of all time, and I think this could be a lot of fun because, Alanna, we've been doing this together now for the season, for the 2024 season, but I haven't really had a chance. I'm going to steal the opportunity here to almost like interview you as if we were on my show slightly, because I have a view of what I think the most important moves were that Andrew Friedman has made for the product on the field, and I'm sure you have your opinions on those as well. But very few people had the inside view of the team and what players brought to the team when they entered that clubhouse. So that's what I really want to know from you today, and I hope people enjoy this. Like, what did some of these names add to the clubhouse? Were they assholes? All that kind of stuff. Probably not. Maybe don't trash people. We don't need to get in more trouble. But I guess without further ado, I can lead us off if you don't mind.
Okay. No, I'd love it. Go ahead. We're starting 5-1, right?
Most 5-1. We'll ping pong on this one, but my fifth most impactful, and you guys, I will also note that I'm going to cheat a lot and throw extra names in here for fun, but I got a tie at 5 because I've got 2017 Yu Darvish and 2021 Max Scherzer, and then we could throw in, of course, Trey Turner in there because why not? It's an everything must go sale. But I mean, you look at what these two pitchers brought to the team when they came here. Max Scherzer was hugely important to that 2021 squad that had lost Trevor Bauer, that did not have a Clayton Kershaw, that just they had some serious pitching issues that ultimately made help to them not making it to the World Series that year. Still, bringing in somebody the ilk of Max Scherzer and the importance he had for the team in that regular season. We don't need to talk too much about what happened in the postseason and how maybe that eventually cost the Dodgers Walker Buehler in the long run, because Buehler stepped up to the plate to pitch in that NLCS. But what Scherzer brought to the team and what Darvish brought to the team and helping the organization get to the World Series for the first time since 1988, those two guys, for me, you could pick either one as the for sure number 5, but those two guys for me really that showed that Andrew Friedman with money was a different kind of animal as a player. Pobo. There it is, Pobo.
I look at it differently. I look at it as what has the person or duo, tandem, have meant to the team over the course of several years, with the exception of one guy that's on my list. When I look at Max Scherzer, what I think of is dead arm, right? And that's just kind of what comes to mind. And not to say, Max is going to the Baseball Hall of Fame, obviously. Okay. He's had a very good career, but I don't see that as the impact for the Dodgers. And the same thing with Yu Darvish. You think about Game 7 of the World Series. I think it was Game 7, right? When he just absolutely got shelled as a Dodger at Dodger Stadium. So while both of those guys are tremendous talent, I don't see them as the impact that I'm looking for when we talk about this list. For me, number 5, and it's a guy that wasn't there for a long time, but it's a guy that I've admired his entire career. And of course, when you think of him first, you think of the Philadelphia Phillies. But for me, number 5 in impact is Chase Utley, without a doubt. This was way before Jerry Hairston Jr. called him the Silver Fox. Chase Utley demands respect the second he walks into a clubhouse. And again, there's a lot of people that think he's a Hall of Famer. There's a lot of people that don't think the numbers warrant a Hall of Fame bid. Chase Utley brings an energy, a work ethic, a determination, a structure, a routine to a clubhouse that is unlike anybody else that I've ever seen from a position player side of the ledger. Okay. Chase Utley to a position player is what my number one is to the pitcher's side of things. And all you need to do is ask Kike Hernandez what Chase Utley meant to his career. And besides Utley, another guy on my list is the guy that shaped Kike's career more than anybody. So Chase Utley and Justin Turner are on that list for me. But Chase Utley is my number 5, just about the way that he changed a culture. He was a big proponent too of the whole dairy-free, gluten-free,
Dairy-free Dodgers.
Basically eat air. And you'll play really good. And they did. And he's just so positively impactful of the way that he goes about his business. And this is a guy that I would only go to when I really needed something. It's kind of like, when to approach Chase. And it was only when something was incredibly important, because he was so routine regimented. And he was just such a huge presence in that clubhouse. So for me, number 5 is the Silver Fox.
And I love that. And I have some thoughts because maybe or maybe not Utley is on my list. I love what you bring to the table there with that, because that era of the team, I mean, Friedman had just taken over. Dave Roberts had just got that team. There's a lot of people that never had experienced a lot of success at the big league level yet, and you learn now from Chase Utley how to play the game right, how to be hard-nosed, grind, show up every single day, and play, work out with intent. That's what you get with Chase Utley, and we're still seeing some of the fruits of that labor, even 5-6 years after he's left the organization.
Yeah.
I mean, he's still around the organization, but yeah, that I love that pick there. I honestly, I would have thought you had gone higher on the Silver Fox, but I'm interested to see the rest of the list. For me, my number 4, imagine there's a drum roll right here, and these days it might elicit a little bit of a groan, but Chris Taylor, for everything he did for this organization, the first number of years, first 4 years in Dodger Blue, Chris Taylor, to be traded, to be acquired for scraps.
Thank you,
Zach
Mariners.
Lee, 2 former top prospects in the game that kind of flamed out, but Chris Taylor goes on to become the starting center fielder for the Dodgers, that same 2017 team that makes it to the World Series for the first time since 1988. Countless big defensive plays, big time homers, sending the Dodgers to the division series in 21 in that walk off against the Cardinals in LA. The game saving catch in Milwaukee, all of this, and him just being the most charismatic guy in that Dodger clubhouse as well. Chris Taylor, when you're looking at pound for pound, what Andrew Friedman had to give up, and what Chris Taylor still brings to this organization to this day. I mean, what a phenomenal move. That's all I got.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. I mean, I think CT, again, this is why I refuse to give up on the dude. I know he's at the tail end of his career, but I do think, again, the second half of the season, he had some really good productive at-bats, made the most of the small opportunities that he's gotten, but you can't have a perennial NL West winning team and go to the World Series 3 out of the last 6 years or whatever it is without Chris Taylor. Again, I just think he's been instrumental in the course of what's happened in this organization over his tenure as a Dodger. He's not on my top 5, but I don't hate you for putting him there. Just because I have some others that I think for my list just make more sense. And again, I'm just talking about positive impact on the clubhouse. I'm not talking about personalities that were very disruptive and you're talking about for the wrong reasons. My number 4, so Chase Utley is my number 5. My number 4 has to be Corey Seager. And the reason I put Seager on there is not only is he a homegrown kid, which we love. We were just talking about our show on Monday about how we hate to see the homegrown guys leave. Walker Buehler, now a member of the Boston Red Sox. But Corey Seager, to me, I remember when he came up, and I remember very, very distinctly when he and Jock were in the dugout in Anaheim at Angel Stadium during the exhibition game. at the end of spring training, rather, before the regular season started. I took a photo and I said the Dodgers' future stars, because they were both up, kind of in that exhibition and playing, and they were the future of the team. And I think Corey Seager really cemented himself as a huge part of what the Dodgers were able to do. And again, Corey had a lot of struggle staying healthy. He didn't really ever have many normal spring trainings. But in the biggest moments, Corey Seager, he's a two-time World Series MVP, once with the Dodgers, once with the Rangers, I understand. But, Corey just had massive, massive at-bats. And he'd step in the box, and he was like, no more Garcia-Parra. He was always ready to swing. It was always like he stepped into the box, and it's always like he had 2 strikes on him, right? But he was always ready to swing, and he came up clutch in so many situations, and he did it without ever saying a word. He hated being interviewed. He always did it. He was always respectful. But he was so happy when Cody Bellinger started becoming the star and having that MVP season, because it was like, sweet, Cody can do all the interviews now. So Corey Seager, one of my favorite humans, comes from one of my favorite families, baseball families. I can't imagine where the Dodgers would have been without the production that Seager had.
And I would add to that, and we'll throw in a caveat here, is again, we're gonna take some liberties with this. Obviously, Corey drafted by Ned Colletti, but still, he became a man. He became a Dodger under Friedman. So I'll 100% give you that one there. But he was another one of those guys that just exemplified, play the game the right way, don't bitch about things, show up to work, put in the work. And go home. Like, it was a job. It is a job to him. He'd much rather be home with his wife and his dogs and all of that, but he plays the game the right way, and sadly playing the game for the Texas Rangers these days. But yeah, if you're talking about that entry into, oh man, this is going to be an insane era of Dodger baseball, Corey was that man. He was absolutely that dude.
And at a very critical position too, right? You have a shortstop, the hardest defensive position in the infield. And the expectation of production from your shortstop. And Corey was very adamant. He's like, I'm not moving over to third. I know everyone thinks I'm too tall. We'll talk to Cal Ripken Jr. because exactly. I'm not moving. So that, he lived up to the hype and exceeded it. Yeah.
Still, I would argue pound for pound, the best hitter the Dodgers, produced since, I don't know, Adrian Beltre. Maybe that's a very lazy take. Wow. I don't know. But if you're talking about pure hitting dudes, Corey Seager, he's got to be, in somewhere on high up on that list. So
let me ask you this then: is Seager on the way to the Hall of Fame like Beltre?
He's got to keep playing. Was Adrian Beltre a Hall of Famer before he became a Texas Ranger? Probably not. So it just, you keep playing, you let the numbers keep piling up. That's what Corey's going to be. And the fact that he has a couple World Series, as where the original Belly does not, I think that plays very well. Now, maybe the media aspect, the fact that Seager's made it very well known, he doesn't want to talk to you unless he has to, or if you're not actively working.
If you have the amount of black type that Seager probably will when it's all said and done, doesn't matter what the media says.
Just got to stay healthy. Before we shift to 3, we should remind you guys, please subscribe to the channel. We're trying to get to 1 billion subscribers by the end of this video. Give the video a thumbs up, share it with your friends. If you have differences of opinions with us, sound off in the comments below. Watch with the family, put it on at your local bar, get yourself 86. We just want you to click. That's the important thing. But for me, number 3, again, I'm cheating ever so slightly. One name we've already said, you said Chase Utley, what he brought to the team, the hard nose, play the game the right way, slide into a mofo at second base to break up that double play.
That was a clean slide. I don't care. That's a hard-nosed baseball play. I'm sorry, Tejada. I'm sorry I broke your damn leg. I thought my life was in massive jeopardy when we went back to New York. I was like, wait, I needed security coming off the bus because I said it was a clean slide. New Yorkers hate me for it. That's a hard-nosed baseball play.
Yeah, Terry Collins still mad he can't get they didn't get their shot at their guy. But also my number 3, I think I would be surprised if he's not on your list, but David Freese as well. What
Yes.
the
Oh my
impact he
God, I
made in
love him.
such a short amount of time in a Dodger uniform, ultimately becoming the leadoff dude in that 2018 World Series run, just out of nowhere. Like he didn't necessarily want to keep playing at that point in his career, but he had a lot of fun in that final year in a Dodger uniform, and he played great. I mean,
See,
look at David Freese's final season in a Dodger uniform. His final season of his career, he hit what 320, 315, something like that. Had 11 homers in short play, and in the World Series in that postseason run he was an incredible addition to that lineup. Even though, again, pretty much you could say he was past his prime at that point, but he found something a little bit like Albert Pujols, found some lightning in a bottle, rejuvenates that career slightly in a Dodger uniform, and he says, "All right, I'm done after this." But those are
I
my
don't
guesses, number
know.
threes.
I'm so annoyed that you actually took the liberty to have two in the same category because I would have put Freeze next to Utley at 5. I didn't know that we were allowed to do that.
I
So to
told you
me, I
before,
mean, to me,
cheating.
Utley and Freeze are the same dude, right?
Yeah.
Like they're the same, like hard-nosed baseball player, bring a ton of experience, a ton of seniority, no BS. And Freeze was my favorite over the course of his time there. My favorite post-game walk-off interview every single time was dry, sense of humor, hilarious, honest, raw. I adore that man. I adore David Freese. I adore his wife. They have the most beautiful children in the world, the three of them. Oh my gosh. David Freese in 2019, 315 batting average in 79 games, 186 plate appearances, a slug of 599 and OPS over 1,000. The guy, 100%.
Yeah.
All right, he's my number 5 with Chase. My number 3
He also
is
brought
a
that
guy.
dog. He brought that dog.
Yes.
Yes.
He did.
Got that
He
dog
did. By
in
the way,
there.
did you know that his dog's name is Doug? Or is actually Bob? Bob the dog.
Bob Dog.
Yep.
Oh, that's
After his
Okay.
friend Bob and his friend Bob has a dog named David, but that's for another time. All right, my number 3 is Freddie Freeman. And I know that this
Great
is
call.
interesting because Freddie Freeman, for all intents and purposes, did not want to be a Dodger. He wanted to retire as an Atlanta Brave. It was unbelievably emotional for him. You remember when the Dodgers went back to Atlanta as the visiting team and Freddie was going to his old clubhouse and crying. And we were like, well, what the hell, dude? It's not like we sent you to Afghanistan. You know, you're like, you signed with the Los Angeles Dodgers, but he needed that closure with Atlanta. He grew up in the Atlanta organization. They were his family. And it's almost like your family is cutting you loose and saying, you know what? We don't want you anymore, kid. And it ended up being one of the best Dodgers that we could have asked for. And Atlanta did great with Matt Olson after Freddie at first.
Mm-hmm.
It was a wonderful decision on both parts for Freddie being in LA, for Matt to be in Atlanta as their first baseman. But what Freddie has done in the course of his very short tenure so far as a Dodger, and he will always go down in postseason lore as the only walk-off grand slam in World Series history against Nestor Cortez that really helped change the dynamic of the course of the World Series and honestly sent Nestor Cortez to Milwaukee, let's be honest. Freddie Freeman is by far my number 3. Just the quality of human being that he is, his love of the game, his love of his family, his dad's relationship, everything he went through with Max in the 2024 season. Freddie Freeman is my number 3. Future Hall of Famer. Put it on lock.
Great pick, because I didn't have Freddie on my list, so I'm glad you brought him up. We've talked a lot this offseason, the last couple of weeks, about, few people have ingratiated themselves to the fan base as much as Teoscar Hernandez in a short amount of time. I mean, we were getting Freddie chance in his first at bat as a Dodger. Like Dodgers fans were never expecting that guy that was beating us for all those years to sign and come home, be in a Dodger uniform, and we hope for the rest of his career he's in a Dodger uniform. Hopefully after this contract is up, they're able to work out something, keep him around, a la maybe a Chase Utley deal. But yeah, great call on Freddie Freeman. As we shift to number 2, I think people are going to be possibly annoyed at my list for again, there's a lot of cheating on my list, I admit that. But it's fine. It's the holidays. And it also kind of tapers a little bit, maybe.
Okay.
But even so, it's Andrew Friedman's very first deal as Dodgers president of baseball operations. And this is the trade that brought Kike Hernandez. Sorry, Kiki, because I pissed people off on Instagram.
No,
when I
that
say
totally
Kiki.
did. They were so angry at you. Oh.
Sorry, Enrique Hernandez y Austin Barnes to the Los
Mm,
Angeles Dodgers, and Chris
that's a
Hatcher, but
good
we
one.
don't talk about him. But I mean, that deal obviously sends away D. Gordon amongst other players. But getting back Kike Hernandez and Austin Barnes, this is another one of those things. This is
That's a good call
one
by
of
you.
those deals that set forth a run of success that this team is still enjoying, because when Guggenheim took over, they had to spend some money. There was Hanley, there was still Wandy Uribe, there was figuring out some things. You get the addition of Justin Turner, pieces start falling together. But Kike and Austin Barnes, and we've had people. I mean, Matt Kemp told us this year about how much he loved playing with Kike, and that was missing his first time through in a Dodger uniform. But he comes back, plays with Kike in 2018. This organization loves that boy, the players, obviously the fans. So that's my number 2 right there.
Yeah,
Kike, Austin Barnes, both friends of
yeah,
the one friend of the show.
that's a good call by you. And Kike is actually my number 2. And the
Oh,
reason being is because Kike, like I said before, I would have him on any postseason roster ever. We talked to Matt Kemp, friend of the show, who said that there was just a different aura when he played with Kike Hernandez back in the day. Kike just gets it. He just gets it. I mean, I know that a lot of times it looks like he's just with the theatrics and the shenanigans and stuff, but
and
there's
the
something
banana.
about and the banana. There's something about the postseason Kike that is just, it's, to me, it's instrumental. So without a doubt, a guy that is just brings a 50 gloves to the yard, goes all over the field. The only position he hasn't played is catcher.
Let
He's
Kike. Oh,
he's
I remember
pitched.
that era.
Remember the let Kike catch. So yeah, to me, it goes without saying, he's not an everyday player to a lot of people, and he's a really good utility player. He understands his role. He wants to come back to LA. He just said that the other day. So Kike is my number 2.
Before we get to number 1, I want to expand on that, because we were all treated to some phenomenal interviews featuring yourself and Kike Hernandez. Of course, him not feeling safe when the drones were
The
out
drone.
there. I think he was also somehow involved when the sewage thing happened down the left field line. What was
Oh,
your favorite Kike moment? That not so much about him being in the postseason or whatever, playing. What was your favorite Kike moment?
There's so many Kike moments, and most of the time they were behind my eyeballs. I didn't have eyes in the back of my head, and it was always Kike when I would do the pre-first pitch hit, right? So it
Uh-huh.
was like Joe and Oro would do their booth stuff, and they'd send it down to the field. I would do my free first pitch hit, easy for me to say. And Kike's always behind me doing something stupid,
Yeah.
whether he's gyrating to a song or whether he's like, takes the bat and is like mocking me, like he's talking like this. And then I turn around,
Yeah,
he's
yeah,
like
yeah.
just swinging the bat. And of course the drone one when he didn't
I
feel
don't feel
safe.
safe. I
And,
don't feel
yeah,
safe.
he's
Yeah, that was
insane.
great. That
Kike's
was great.
insane. And I love him for that. And, again, you need that type of personality. And that's the thing. You got to let guys be who they are. To try to push Kike into a hole and make him not have that personality is
Yeah.
you're not going to get the best out of your guys. So a lot of funny moments with that one. That's for sure.
Yeah, and I love to I guess promote another show. He was on that show, the haircut show, whatever it's called. I'm sorry, I forgot what he was on, but he talked about his struggles early in his career
Yeah.
with Houston and how he was trying to be someone he's not. Once he finally decided to listen to Robin Williams and be himself, then he became the Kike we now very much know and love. But without further ado, number 1, and before we get to number 1, which is also a cheat on me, I
Yeah,
want to
me
cheat with
too.
an honorable mention and throw in Evan Phillips, because we're talking about a dude who was a scrap. This is not my number 1. This is an honorable mention. But Evan Phillips being a dude that was a scrap heap type of dude, DFA'd by Tampa, Dodgers pick him up. He puts, he's a nobody in 21, puts on a show when Joe Kelly hurts himself starting a game, opening a game, because the Dodgers have no pitching because my number 5, Max Scherzer, can't answer the bell.
I told you.
Evan Phillips goes out there and throws up like 3 1/3 scoreless or whatever. That was Evan Phillips, Brent Honeywell moment. But to now be at a point where he's in that argument where he is the Dodgers closer unofficially, officially at times, like that's my honorable mention. But my number 1, it's the trio from this year, because without the addition of Tommy Edman, Michael Kopech, and Jack Flaherty, the Dodgers do not win the 2024 World Series. You had to have those dudes, and the precision in which Andrew Friedman and Brandon Gomes and company navigated the trade deadline in 2024. It was beautiful. It was magical, and ultimately it led to World Series championship number 8 for your Los Angeles Dodgers. So that's my number one. It's 3 dudes. It's the trio, and I am done now cheating.
I gotta say, no. I do not agree with you. Like, how can you have a top 5 list of most impactful Dodgers over the course of
this is trades? This is like his biggest trades.
My time. Okay, well, I'm different. I'm okay. That's fine. Whatever. But for me,
that's
as far as impact, and it's a tie for me. I mean, an equal tie. Number 1 for me, Justin Turner, Clayton Kershaw. You don't have 2 people that have more impact on this team over the course of the last 10 plus years than JT and Kersh. And I understand Kershaw didn't pitch a ton this year. I understand JT's not even on the damn team. But over the course of time that I've been covering this team and been in love with this team to the point where it's given me ulcers, Justin Turner has had the most impact on that team from a position player side than any other player that I have witnessed since I started covering the team full-time in 2014. And keep in mind, Justin Turner and I've told the story before, we started on the exact same day because I started basically covering this team, let's just say first day of spring training of 2014. And that's when Ned Colletti decided to invite JT as a non-roster invitee after the New York Metropolitans decided to non-tender him. And he came to spring training without a job and ended up getting a job, remember, as the second baseman of the Los Angeles Dodgers, and ended up becoming, I know we don't have captains in LA, but was a captain of that team. And the guy would post whether he was 0 for 5 with 3 errors or 5 for 5 with the game-winning RBI. He would post every single game. He always held himself accountable. He showed up. He played every day. So JT for me on the position player side, and without a doubt, imagine where this club would be without Clayton Kershaw in his Dodger tenure of just being the ace of this staff as long as he has. And God, I hope he finishes his career in a Dodger uniform.
He will. He says he wants to. And credit to Andrew Friedman bringing those dudes back, understanding that, yeah, maybe he's not the guy who initially signed either of them, but understanding the impact, them essentially having an open door policy with Clayton Kershaw, return anytime you decide you're ready to come back. They've done that the last 3 years. Drunk and slightly smoked out Kershaw with his stogie at the World Series championship says, I'll be back. I'm been Dodger for life. And JT, coming back at Kenley's wedding, agreeing to return to the Dodgers, bringing Kenley back with him. All of that, definitely Friedman instrumental in bringing those dudes, keeping them here for as long as they were here or are here, and continuing the run of success that this Los Angeles Dodgers team has had. But those are our top 10 plus much plus players. If you guys feel different, sound off in the comments below. Before we sign off though, Alanna, I think you got a dog you should tell people about, so I'm gonna throw it to last next.
I appreciate that very much. All right, guys, I need your help, and I need your help badly. This is Cash, a stray close to the Fresno, California area. He's about 1 to 2 years old. He is vaccinated now. We've set up an appointment to get him neutered, but he does not have a home. The person that found him cannot keep him long-term. We desperately need a long-term foster or adopter for this good boy. He is good with other dogs. Collies are incredibly active, very smart dogs. So a family that's active, likes to hike, likes to walk, likes to do things, would be the best fit for him. As a foster, you do not pay for anything, so no cash outlay for cash as a foster. But please reach out if you can foster him, because I am doing my best to avoid him going to a shelter, because he will not make it out of the shelter alive. So please, 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 please share Cash.
Guys, it's the best time of year to bring a new bundle of joy into the house, and it should always be a dog, never children. Always bring a dog home. But
Yes, but you
guys,
can't just give them up when you feel like it either. It's a lifetime commitment, please.
absolutely. But guys, hopefully you enjoyed this little bit different episode of Dodgers Territory. I had a lot of fun. I think, Alanna, you probably had some fun doing this too. It's not your usual stuff. Don't worry. We'll be back to talking about who the Dodgers should sign and Sasaki and all that
Right.
stuff on Monday. So guys, make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Hit that notification bell to know when we are live. That really helps out. Rate and review the show in its podcast form. That's another thing that helps us keep going strong with you here as we hope to start bringing you more shows in 2025. So for Riz right there, Alanna, Rizzo, I am Clint Pasillas. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you on the next one of these. Okay, bye.